Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 5th anniversary season of the Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, Chief Content Producer and Writer at JTwJE.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. If you're listening to this on our audio platforms, thank you so much. Please download this episode and more episodes, and please give us a 5-star rating. I am thrilled to welcome this next guest today. He is a makeup artist, and he has done so many projects throughout his career. He's been a makeup artist for Bram, Stoker's Dracula, France, Hannah Montana, Hook, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Smurfs films, and the Watchmen. He's also an actor that played on Charmed and Calvin and Freddy's Cosmic Adventure. But now he writes, directs, and stars in Amazon Prime Video's latest film, Rockbottom. So please help me welcome Todd Tucker to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And Todd, it's such a privilege to have you here because you were a makeup artist on so many of my childhood products that I've consumed from childhood all the way to now.
I got in the industry at a really cool time. I was really lucky when I moved to Los Angeles and started working as a makeup effects artist. And one of my first projects was Hook. I mean, who gets to get thrown into, that level of film in your beginning of your career? So I just had a lot of people that helped me out, and it was a real honor to be able to do all that stuff and have a great time while I did it.
Absolutely. So I definitely, and we'll be talking about Hook and more materially, but first, when you get interested in performing and how did the passion evolve and desire to pursue a career in the entertainment industry?
Long story short was I was raised by my mom, who was a child star. So she actually started grooming me to be a musician at age 5. So she tried to get me to play accordion, which I wasn't a fan of, but it taught me how to play piano. So that was cool. But I really gravitated to the drums. And by like age 6 or so, I told her I wanted a drum set. And she said, well, if I get you a drum set, then you're going to take 2 hours of lessons and you're going to practice 3 hours a day, every single day. And she gave me this whole list of things I'd have to do. And I'm like, bring it on. So she did. And I took lessons for years. And by the time I was like 11 or 12 years old, I was a really good drummer. I was like playing with orchestras and actually making money playing the Marriott Hotel on Saturday nights with jazz bands and pop, in nightclubs where I wasn't old enough to stay in there. And they'd have to take me outside during the breaks and then bring me back in so I could just play the drums. So I got a really early stage of performing because of all that. And then I started singing behind the drums because I got bored just playing the drums. And then I became a lead singer drummer. And then we got signed by a record label when I was right out of high school. And my band was playing up in Northern California. We were opening up for bands like the Tubes and Y&T, all these great rock bands. And then my career got ripped away from me in 1990 when Nirvana showed up and MTV changed everything. And that is when I left it all behind, moved to Hollywood, and started doing all the movies that you just mentioned.
That must have been a major transition because the thing is, like, you went from all of a sudden you're a rock drummer and all of a sudden in a band and opening up for that, and all of a sudden Nirvana comes in and you have to go back to go to Hollywood. And like, when did you get interested in those makeup effects?
So I had 2 passions in my life. It was music, playing music, and movies and monsters. And I've always been obsessed with that. I was an only child, so I'm a weird only child that had a lot of time in their hands and was very creative and did a lot of stuff, painted, drew, sculpted, all that kind of stuff. So I was doing that all my life. And then I ended up meeting these 2 guys, Matt Rose and Steve Wang, in Northern California when I was about a senior in high school. And they were special effects guys, and they taught me a bunch of great stuff for about a year. And then they moved to Los Angeles and started working on a little film called Aliens. And they became huge. They opened the door for me and basically handed me a career when my rock and roll career ended. And I kid you not, I kid you not, and this is like almost out of a movie. The Rockbottom movie is based on a lot of stuff I went through, and the lead 3 characters are literally times in my life that I just put into these characters and peppered into the storyline. But at this point, at that point, I basically was signing autographs in Northern California at a guitar center. And with 1 month away from that, I was in that same guitar center getting laughed at and giggled at because I had big, long, curly hair. That's how fast it changed. Literally, hairband rock and roll, Journey, Styx, Foreigner, Bon Jovi, all those guys literally became kind of a laughing stock like disco was. Overnight it changed. It was crazy. And my band and I all looked at each other and said, MTV's changed everything. We were about to go on tour with a major band and do a world US tour that was being all set up. It all ended in one day. And we all looked at each other. We're like, right now the only thing that's playing is grunge, rap, and country. And we all shook hands, didn't say a word, and I haven't seen him since. It's crazy.
Oh wow, that definitely sounds like a insane time. So your work has been featured on some of the important programs and part of my life growing up. So you're, as a makeup artist, I would like to talk to you with them if you don't mind, about some of them.
Yeah.
So so starting with one of the most important TV series of my life was Power Rangers. So you did it for a couple of the first episodes,
So I did very little for Power Rangers. My friend Steve Wang, who taught me back in Northern California, who actually opened the door for me. He was working on Power Rangers. He was directing episodes, and he was a badass. And he got hired to do some special effects, makeup, and also direct episodes. So I was helping him build a couple of characters, but it was really all him. I mean, it was his designs, everything. I just kind of assisted him. But and at one point in time, I auditioned to be one of the main villains on the show, and gave them a deal that I would show up in full makeup. They wouldn't even have to deal with it. I would literally show up and put the makeup on myself and show up, and no one would ever know who I was. And I had the job. And at the last minute, I got replaced by somebody who had a bigger name.
So, I hate when that happens.
I got to go through that route a few times. Yeah. So, but yeah, the Power Rangers, literally, I was working at a studio in Valencia, and the Power Rangers Saban studios were next door to us. So we would see the Power Rangers driving by, and they'd be shooting them all the time. And then, so we got to do a couple of things for them, but not a lot for that one. But it was a lot of fun to work on what I did. They were fun.
Absolutely. So speaking of fun, look, that was Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts. That film set a lot of people, set the standard for Peter Pan for that generation.
Growing up, my mom was a single parent, and not a great one. So I didn't have a dad really a lot to focus on. So I kind of looked at a couple of different actors, and I was so engrossed in movies that I kind of used them as my role model. And Robin Williams was at the top of that list. And basically, when I moved here and got to work with him on Hook, and it was one of the first movies I started working on when I got here, he walked into the studio and I couldn't even look at him. I mean, it was like, but he was the sweetest guy ever. And as a director, my all-time favorite movies, and for me, there's no one better than Steven Spielberg. It's the best there ever was. The best movies ever made came from that man. And to sit there and watch him, and I literally would just focus in on him and watch him so much that I'm sure he was uncomfortable, because I just studied him because I wanted to see how he motivated people, what he did, what was his magic. And I saw it. He was a badass. So to be on that film and watch those guys work was like, it's an experience you can't really ever even kind of imagine, but it was one of the coolest things I've ever got to be part of.
That's incredible. So another franchise you had a huge part, were actually at the start of this huge franchise, was Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of Black Pearl. So how did you get involved with that project?
We were doing a bunch of films, and we got approached with doing that. And we did a bunch of great designs. I think Miles Tevis was one of our key designers, and he did these amazing Photoshop designs of the different pirate looks and stuff. And Disney was sold, and all the actors came in, and we took head casts and teeth casts of all these guys and created all their looks. The only one that didn't come in was Johnny Depp. And we had been told
Really?
at one point, yeah, we've been told at one point that the project was put on hold because of conflicts of what his look was going to be, and for us just to hold off and wait. And then he never came in for the most part. He created his own look, and I think Disney wanted a very different look from what I understand. But he fought for that look, and literally that character made that movie the franchise that it is. It was also a great movie too, but I mean that character, even for Johnny, I think was the thing that really made that stand out. So it was amazing. I did not go on set and apply the makeups on that one. I was in the studio building it and working, doing the head cast and sculpting pieces and doing all that kind of stuff on that end. But I knew when we were working on it, it was going to be a really cool thing and something that I'd be talking about later.
And here we are. And not only that, it's like when you were doing like some of the effects of the pirates, especially their ghost forms, I kind of jumped when I first saw Barbarossa in his end near finale. Yeah, finale.
Well, to be honest with you, so that was interesting because we wanted to create the look of them when they became the ghosts. We created the look of the pirates as they were regular pirates, the teeth, the scars, the dirt looks. I mean, we created that look. But when they became the ghost looks, that was all digital. We had no part of that. We were bummed out because we wanted to potentially create practical elements and have digital involvement and kind of do that. But they went pretty digital with it, and it looked great. I mean, it looked great. So I can't really argue with them. But we were hoping to get that. But that was when digital was really coming in and taking over a lot of the practical effects. And sometimes it worked really well. I was happy with it.
And I'm glad you were happy with it as well. And you did an amazing job with those pirates and those signature, especially with Barbossa, one of the most signature villains in that franchise.
Well, I will preface this, and this goes across the board with any movie that you're asking me about. There's always a team of artists. It's never one person. There's always 5, 6, 8, 10 people that are all involved in the process. So there's a list of artists I could tell you right now that are involved with a lot of the projects that I worked on, but I got really lucky that I got to work with this great team and learn along the way and just get better because I was around really, really great artists. So anytime, we talk about any film, it's me and a team of people for sure.
And I gotta say, your team did a fabulous job with The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, because that was another major film that I still have memories of to this day.
Yeah. We had worked, I worked at a company that we did The Passion of the Christ with Mel Gibson. We did a lot of films with Mel Gibson over the years, and I got to be on set with him quite a bit. And we did The Passion of the Christ with him. And I actually got to play 3 characters in that film because we shot all of the practical effects in a stage across the street, miniature sets and all this different stuff. And Mel was awesome to let us kind of go old school Lucas with all the new technology, and we came up with all this really fun, cool stuff. So anyway, I'm sorry, I forgot what the original question was.
The question was like basically working with Benjamin, the Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Right. So on The Passion of the Christ, we created this material, and there was a team of guys that were creating this new material because Jim Caviezel didn't want to have all the body makeup have to be on and off every day. So we created this new material in-house, and it became the new standard in makeup effects. And we used it on Benjamin Buttons for all the old age makeups, and it really worked. It was translucent. It was a type of silicone that we came up with. I personally had nothing to do with it. It was like 3 or 4 guys that we locked into a room and told them what we needed to do, and they just masterminded it. And also I didn't go on set with that one. I just helped in the shop building everything and pulling it all together with a bunch of other people. But it was really, really cool. And those makeups turned out really good. We created the little animatronic baby that is very, the young version or the old version, I guess you would call it, of Benjamin Buttons. But that movie was really cool. It won Academy Award for a bunch of different things, including best makeup. And that was fun. That was a cool one to be on. And Brad Pitt was really cool. Really cool.
That's amazing to hear. That's really cool. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan. So we got to talk about Rockbottom. So can you describe how this story came to be?
Well, you got a little bit of a background on my my music history before I moved here and started working in the film industry. So I started creating projects and became a director and producer, writer, and started creating a lot of my own films about 12 years ago, 15 years ago. And right before COVID hit, my daughter had asked me if I would ever consider getting my old band back together. And I laughed. I'm like, no, not a chance. No. But that sparked an idea in my head. And I started thinking of how could I turn this into, a cool thing. Maybe it's time to pull my drums out again and maybe play in a band. And then all of a sudden we got shut down for COVID. And I went, oh, okay, there's the sign. Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I pulled out my drum set. I started coming up with the concept of what this was going to be as a film, and basically wanted to create a franchise that would be potentially a film about a fun band, an album of music that I could go record, and also have an album of original upbeat 80s rock music like I loved, and then potentially even a live concert of the band. So everyone thought I was crazy. They were all freaking out about COVID. It was like, where the hell are you going? What are you doing? Because I started going to the studio all the time. I pulled my drums out and I just started practicing my drums and writing music and writing a script, and just everyone thought I lost my mind. And then I just started pulling all these great people in, and it just evolved and evolved. And it took about 3 years or so. And then I got it financed, and then we shot it in February of last year. And I spent the last year finishing up the rest of the songs that are on the 11-song original soundtrack, and finished editing the movie, getting all the visuals done, getting everything finished, getting our marketing online in place. And it just came out Thursday of last week on Prime Video, not Amazon Prime. I've been told you have to just say Prime Video. That's how you find it. And it came out on Thursday. The album came out on Friday, and the album is everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you can find it, it's there. And it came out over the weekend, and it did really, really well. People are digging it. They're watching it a second time. Like I said, it's exciting. I'm really excited. I'm really glad that it is getting the response it is, because you never know. You never know. So yeah, I'm very happy.
All righty. Well, let's talk about how you casted some of your co-stars with you.
Yeah, I got really lucky.
Let's start with Tom Everett Scott, because the thing is, he belongs to another popular musical film, That Thing You Do.
Right. We had so I had 2 producers on the film that were key in making all this stuff happen. The first one is Ron Halvis, who's my business partner. Second one is Kathy Macias. Kathy reached out to a bunch of the agents of the actors that we pulled on board. The very first actor that I pulled on board was Tila Dunn. She was cast as Kat right away. I was so happy. She was like the first person that really set the bar for what everyone else needed to be. And then we started talking to Tom, and I was like, the having Tom in the mix, and it was like, what, 20 something years ago when he did That Thing You Do, when he was the drummer, and he hasn't really done a part like that since. And then I had a conversation with Tom, and for me as a director, if actors are credible, I don't audition them. I just talk to them and see if I connect with their character being in the zone of who I want them to be as this character. And if I feel it, it's a gut feeling. And I talked to Tom, and man, he was so cool, so sweet. He was so perfect for that character. And I play his brother in the movie. So it really, his tone of his character really dictated how I played my character, and everything came down and became a little bit more real and less over the top funny. It became a little bit more of a drama, and Tom was amazing. He's so cool. And then when they brought on Jake, I spoke with Jake, and it was just a no-brainer. I mean, and he's done another movie. I don't know if he's done anything since this as far as movie wise, but this is kind of his breakout film as a lead actor. And we actually were at the Hollywood Reel Film Festival, Independent Film Festival, about 2.5 weeks ago, and the film won Best Actor, Jake Bon Jovi. I won Best Director, and the film won Best Movie. So Jake, coming out of the bullpen, got a Best Actor and did a great job. So I think everyone's going to love Jake. And then, of course, McKaylee Miller was amazing. She was so important that her character was as strong and solid as she was, because she really drives the movie from the get-go. She just goes in there and she's the driving force that makes everything happen in the story. So she had to be, you know, a badass and convincing in that respect. And then the guys in the band, for the most part, everyone's the real guys that played the music. And Toshi, the guitar player in the band who plays Eddie, he is the lead guitar player for the Jimmy Kimmel Live show. And he is he's such a cool dude and helped write some of the music. Jeffrey Allen Jones, who plays Mr. Wizard, plays keyboards, a longtime friend of mine. He was awesome. Everybody was really good. I got really lucky because as a director and also acting at the same time, it was easier with everybody being as good and professional and prepared as they were. I didn't really have to work too hard as a director. It all came really organically, and I think it shows on screen. So that's probably part of the reason why I feel like it's working when people watch it, because it feels pretty organic and everybody got to bring their own thing to it.
That's amazing, Todd. That's amazing. And before we got online, you were telling me about the accolades that we received from a lot of people, deep, strong, amazing feedback. Can you share that with my audience?
Yeah. So yeah, we did the film festival. We won at the Reels Hollywood Film Festival. We won Best Film. I got my award back here. I'll show you. Let's see, right here. We got a few of these right here. This is my director's award. We got the best film.
Congratulations, Todd.
Thank you. Oh, also too, I wanted to mention real quickly, there's a couple other actors in my film. I don't want to leave them out because they're so key to making this film work. And one of them is a longtime friend of mine who plays our nemesis in the film, Zach Ward. And you've seen Zach in a lot of movies. He's Scott Farkas from A Christmas Story. That guy's a legendary, and he's actually been in every one of my films. He was amazing as Kenny Cobra in the film. And then we also had Chris Mulkey, who played the Hand. And that guy was amazing too. He came in and just brought stuff to that character that I didn't even write. He just made it awesome. And we have our actress Danielle Kennedy, who plays Agatha, the world's oldest rock groupie. She was awesome. She's in the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie, and it was so cool when I met all these people. It really made the project for me a real special thing. But anyway, I just wanted to just keep mentioning that. But yeah, we won these awards. The movie came out. There's so many great comments. So many people said they watched it twice. They bought it. They didn't rent it because they wanted to watch it over and over. People are having 80s parties, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to inspire people to go get together and have fun, get dressed up. A bunch of people had, wigs on, and they were doing these 80s parties and having a good time. And, it's a time right now in the world where if we can have a good time and enjoy life a little bit, it probably wouldn't hurt us. So I'm hoping that it continues to do that. And the big thing right now is we're trying to get it in other countries, because one of the things we're getting responses on is that how soon will it be available in Japan? How soon will it be available in Brazil? And I want to get it out there as quickly as possible because they want it. So we're trying to arrange that right now.
And the Japanese and the British and the Brazilian markets will eat that thing up.
They're already asking me. The album is available for them because you can get that anywhere. But right now we're on Prime Video only. But we're trying to get more territories, and I'm going to figure out a way to make sure I can get it out to all these people. Right now, Japan, Brazil, Canada, Germany, and Canada are all going, where is this movie? So I'm like, let me get it to you guys as quick as possible.
Awesome. So we're going to start writing down our conversation. So why should my audience check out Rockbottom?
Well, it's got great music performed by amazing musicians. It's all upbeat, like Journey, Bon Jovi, Foreigner. If you like 80s rock, classic good 80s rock, we have a whole album's worth of it, and it's peppered all throughout the movie. It's relatable if you're 20, because the story really wraps around these two girls and the new lead singer for the band, and they're in their early 20s. So it really does, I believe, it's relatable to that age group, but it's also relatable to their parent rockers who are in their 40s and 50s who, you know, will feel the nostalgicness of what this offers. And it's you know, it's a feel good movie. And it was meant to be a feel good movie. If you close your eyes for like 30 seconds before the movie starts and just kind of clear your mind and watch this movie, I can almost guarantee you'll walk away feeling better. And that was the goal.
And that's amazing. I can't wait to watch the film. And also, last question, are you ready? So, where can my audience connect with you on social media? And where can besides Prime Video, where else can they download the soundtrack?
So the soundtrack, the original soundtrack, is available everywhere. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on iTunes. Pretty much, it's on like 30 different outlets, so it's pretty much everywhere. And I think you'll really like the soundtrack. And we have a couple of different people singing on it. We've got some amazing Terry Ilous from Great White and XYZ sings one of the songs. I've got George Lynch from Dokken playing guitar leads on one of the songs. So I pulled in I got Sean McNabb from Quiet Riot playing bass on all of the songs. I pulled in some really, really amazing musicians. So the album is really high quality, good stuff if you like that type of music. And the movie right now is only available on Amazon. I'm sorry, not Amazon, on Prime Video. But again, I'm going to potentially, if we can't get more territories, I'll have to open up other ways of getting it out there. But hopefully Prime Video will be the main home for Rockbottom.
Awesome. So guys, if you miss an episode,
it's and also, I'm sorry, and you can get it at the rockbottommovie.com, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of it. It's social media. We have all of the social medias at the rockbottommovie.com and Rockbottom Movie in general.
Awesome. So speaking of social media, have you please subscribe to my social? I'm on social media. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB, And if you miss any of my episodes of the Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. It's Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB, And guys, head to the blog that started it all, jake-jake.com, for my take on what's going on with The Masked Singer, America's Got Talent Fantasy League, and incredible interviews and so much more. Visit jake-jake.com. Todd, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. Congratulations on Rockbottom, and I hope to chat with you soon.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the interview.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.